Hello Internet, my name is Chamomile and I'm going to show you how to make somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 a year writing independent tabletop RPG content. I started with $0 in 2018 and built up to full-time income in 2021. There's always some amount of sheer dumb luck involved in this kind of thing and I can't help you with that, but I can give you a plan that will work as long as you're at least as lucky as I am. You do not need to be friends with a famous podcaster, you do not need to have pre-existing professional experience in the RPG industry or any other industry. And you do not need any startup money at all. With that said, I have no idea how long this window of opportunity will last, so especially if you're watching this from a few years in the future, then the whole market may have shifted or totally collapsed. That's also why I'm making this video now, even though it's not clear how stable my success is. If I wait around for another year or two to check for stability, the first step may have gone completely out of date by the time I'm done. So here's your plan. Step 1. Get yourself OBS and record you and your friends playing a totally regular, free game of whatever RPG you have the assets for on the virtual tabletop of your choice. If you don't have a preference already, you should use Roll20 to get familiar with it, because like it or not, you will have to use it in later steps. For this step though, you can find plenty of battle maps as well as art tokens for free on Google Image Search, so step 1 costs nothing. It will also make you nothing, because you and your random friends are not the English-speaking world's most talented voice actors, and will not produce amazing content. But these videos will prove you are reliable. The longer it goes on posting every week, the stronger the proof that you are a reliable GM who shows up for every game. I don't know for sure if this step is necessary, but it is something I did back in 2018 and used as a centerpiece of my advertising in that year. After you've got your first 2 or 3 episodes posted, set up a website. This is step 2. It's totally fine to use a free WordPress domain for now. You're going to make a web page here explaining things like services, the rates you charge, what systems you run, what your limits are concerning things like evil campaigns or not safe for work content, that sort of thing. Start with a $5 per player per session rate with no minimum players. This is ludicrously low, but it'll help fill out your roster while you're still new. On to step 3. Now that you have proof of reliability and a web page explaining your services, post Roll20 ads for D&D 5th edition in every time slot you have available. You can post ads for other systems as well, but you absolutely must be willing to run for 5th edition. Its market dominance is too overwhelming to pass up. Most of your games will always be 5e. Likewise, you can advertise on platforms in addition to Roll20 if you want, but you must advertise on Roll20. If you already have specific APs in your library, or you have the money to buy them, advertising a specific adventure path is often more effective than a generic 5e listing. But a generic listing will still fill up in about 4 to 6 weeks. The 2 most popular APs are almost always whichever one was most recently released and Curse of Strahd. I don't know what it is about Strahd, but people keep coming back to it. If you already have it, or you can afford to buy it, that'll help you get through step 3 faster. In terms of time slots, you're watching this video in English, so the American and Canadian market is your bread and butter. Australia and the UK all have a decent player population, and you will occasionally get a group from those time zones, but you're always going to struggle to keep those slots filled. American games will fill up and stay full. That means that American weekends, especially Sunday, need to be clear for this, and you want as many weeknights available as possible, but don't overbook yourself. You need time off to rest or your GMing quality will crash, and you'll also want to leave at least 1 day off to work on future steps of the plan. Professional GMing will provide you with an initial audience and lots of money to play with to hire freelancers, but it's nearly impossible to make a living off of it unless you are already famous from something else. So don't go so heavily into professional GMing that you don't have any time left in your schedule to branch out from it. I recommend you try to get both a morning and evening game on Saturday and Sunday, and then an evening game on any 2 weekdays. Step 4, once your schedule starts filling up, you can begin to raise the price. $5 per session is please help me prove I am a real GM rates, so you can safely raise to $10 per session once you have just 2 or 3 campaigns going. Once your schedule is totally filled out, you can raise the rates to $15 per player per session, but don't raise to $15 on players mid-campaign. You can get away with 5 to 10, I wouldn't do it for 10 to 15 or 15 to 20. Play the existing campaign to its natural conclusion and then raise the rates on starting a new one. Completing an entire campaign usually takes at least 6 months, and as long as a full year sometimes, so expect to spend most of the first year building yourself up to $15 per player per session. In this first year, you will fairly quickly make grocery money, but you will not make rent money. Keep your day job. You'll also want to redirect most or all of your income from the business back into the business. Buy encounter maps. I recommend Gabriel Picard, so that you can have a consistent art style for your encounters. As you build up a library, you'll be able to quickly create encounters for even the most bizarre of situations. You'll also be building up a token library, which will allow you to quickly bring in monsters and foes you weren't expecting the players to encounter. Leave at least $60 aside so that you can buy new adventure pass whenever they get popular or they're requested, but don't buy a new AP until you've collected money for a game. Before money changes hands, flakes are common. After money changes hands, they get much more rare. With an average of 4 players per game, 5 games per week, and $15 per player per session, you'll be making something like $300 per week, which is over $1,000 per month. That means you have both the experience and the funding to launch a Kickstarter campaign. We'll talk about that in the next video.